I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas. Welcome to Flagrant Howls, a Minnesota Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.
All right, Judd Zulgad in the house at Target Center, the sports dad holding it down. Phil Mackey, voice hanging by a thread.
Ooh, boy.
Just like Anthony Edwards' ankle after that manglement in the first half. We'll talk about all of it here. So I'm in Chicago for the Barrett Sports Media Summit. And I don't know if it's the travel or if it's shouting over crowds or whatever. But I'm here. I'm a gamer, just like Anthony Edwards in the second half. And we're going to talk about a Wolves victory. They finally hit some threes. Very nice when Jaden McDaniels comes out and just cashes a three to start the game to relieve the tension. But before we dive in and dissect this thing, a shout out to our friends at Bricksworth in the North Loop in Minneapolis. Bricksworth has become one of the premier spots for Wolves fans to gather before home games and even away games. Belly up, grab some of those dry rub wings that everybody's talking about, including the Mackeys. Big fans of the Bricksworth Cool Ranch Dorito dry rub wings. And also the Nasreed Signature Hazy IPA to go along with Detroit-style pizza. So if you haven't checked out Bricksworth in the North Loop, it's just steps away from Target Center as they go deeper in the playoffs. More home games, more chances for you to hang out at this awesome spot in the North Loop. Check out our friends at Bricksworth. So, all right, Judd, from the arena, what was your biggest takeaway tonight?
Oh, man, I got a lot of takeaways. For the most part, other than Golden State pulling within 7 points in the third quarter, though, like this was the Wolves game. Like they pulled within 7, and I got a little skeptical, but for the most part, the Wolves controlled this game. As you mentioned, the Ant injury was scary. Steph Curry not playing definitely helped out. But you know what? I've come to a conclusion about, I think it's the most important conclusion I can make about this series, 2 games in, and it's a series now. Each team has won a game. And that's this. If you came here for storylines, you know what? You got them. A lot of storylines. If you came here for aesthetically pleasing basketball, get out of here. This is not going to be like, I saw complaints about like the play tonight, and I get them. It's not unfounded, but I think that is now this series. Like Golden State is not, it's not like this high, it's not like the old days and Steph Curry not playing. They are a hard-working team. They are going to grind you out if they can. The Timberwolves, in turn, like we're deep enough into the playoffs that I don't think it should be shocking that the style of play, it's not like you're watching this high-flying Showtime Lakers basketball. So I would say my biggest takeaway is the fact that I think we really have now a tone for the series, which is it's going to be not really, but it's going to be haymakers as far as how it looks.
Yeah, I mean, it is like you're right. The Warriors are running out a lot of random dudes off their bench, and I would say like the biggest compliment to Golden State, because this game, like, it got dicey in the third quarter.
Yeah, 7.
They went on a run. It got down to 7 without Steph Curry, and the Warriors are very well organized. They're well coached. They play very hard. They played, once again, I think it was a genuine, 10-man rotation when you cut out garbage time after playing 11 guys in the first half of the first game in the series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you could call it a 12-man rotation because Kevin Knox got some run in this one tonight too. So they're throwing everything they can against the Wolves. But here's the reality. All right, now the Anthony Edwards ankle situation, I think it's going to feel a lot worse in the morning, and maybe even for Game 3 than it did in this second half tonight. So that's something to monitor for sure. They cut to Steph Curry while Anthony Edwards was being helped off the court, and he had the beginnings of a wry grin on his face, like, an eye for an eye.
I saw it, on Twitter. Yeah, someone posted it.
But assuming Anthony Edwards, whose body seems to be Teflon every single time he goes down with an injury, he bounces back. The Wolves will win this series if they hit threes, period. And that was the biggest difference tonight. They came out, and especially their bench, Nickeil Alexander-Walker showed up big time. He's been absent for most of the last 2 years' worth of playoff games. scores 20 points, knocks down a bunch of threes. Dante DiVincenzo, who had not hit more than 2 threes in any playoff game so far this year, he knocks down a small handful. So if the Wolves are making, I mean, I think it's really, I mean, there's a lot of things that you could dig underneath the surface for in this series. But the Warriors can't win the math equation with Steph Curry out if the Wolves are hitting threes, period. So that's what I learned tonight.
So a couple of things about Wolves players in particular. Julius Randle, hell of a game. 24 points, 7 boards, 11 assists. Jaden, I thought, between the defense and the 16 points, and to your point about that first 3, which was huge, the Wolves came out with so much more of a swagger tonight as well. And so you knew that it was going to be a game. DiVincenzo was only 3 of 8 on threes, but he also, early in the game, because he took a couple of threes early, he missed, but he didn't sort of like go into a shell. He was facilitating. He was doing a ton here. So, like, I really liked a lot of things, far from perfect game, but I really liked a lot of things that we saw from the Wolves tonight as far as, again, what I think is going to be the tempo and tone, especially without Steph, of this series. I don't think it's going to be easy. Both teams can play some defense. I mean, you know, to go back to the Warriors were the number one ranked defense in the entire league since the Butler trade. I mean, there's a lot of things here that scream to really not great games as far as what you see. But yeah, the Wolves also did this, and I think that this is key. So in the first game, the Warriors bench actually contributed a lot. Steph got hurt, the bench contributed. But let me give you the bench tonight, okay? Because I think this is the difference. Peyton, 11 minutes, no points. Moody, 12 minutes, no points. And Spencer, feisty. That guy should bat lead off for the 78 Giants. Like, he looks like he's just up there choking up on the bat, prepared to bunt. 10 minutes, no points. Kuminga was great. And Kuminga, I believe, before the Butler trade was starting, I like him a lot. He scored 18 points, and Jackson Davis had 15. But that was it for the bench. So I think if you were to ask Chris Finch, hey, as far as what the Warriors produced, are you pleased with what you did, how you contained them in Game 2, especially as opposed to Game 1? And I think the answer is definitely.
Yeah.
But that bench, but without Steph, the Warriors and Steve Kerr is going to have to count on his bench more. And I think the reality is, I would guess, if I were to place a bet, I would bet on the Warriors bench, the majority of it doing far more what it did tonight than consistently coming out and slaying, especially if the Wolves are playing as engaged as they did for most of the game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Kuminga brought a ton of energy and had some stretches there.
I love that guy.
Where he was crashing, and that was big. So, you know, they're going to keep running combinations out there, and I think the Warriors' goal at this point in the series is, can they steal one more game without Steph Curry, and then hope that he comes back for Game 6? Like, could they steal a game and then be down 3-2 with a Game 6 and a Game 7? Right? Like, that's got to be. I think if he's out for the series, listen, it's the Timberwolves, and they don't have this historical track record, so we'll see. I don't want to count eggs before they hatch, or count chickens, whatever. Is it counting chickens or eggs before they hatch? I guess you're kind of counting both of them.
Yes, I think you are.
Yeah,
exactly.
On the Ant front, I want to ask you, what was the vibe in the arena when he went down? Because the TNT camera cut to him, and he was like talking to himself as he writhed in pain, almost like praying that it wasn't too bad. Mm-hmm. And they showed the replay from the Lakers series. It was the same ankle that got rolled up on in that Lakers series. It looked like a high ankle situation, but then he jumps right back out there. So I worry that it's going to flare up after the adrenaline wears off, and he wakes up in the morning with a lot more pain. But what was the vibe when he went down and then back to the locker room?
It was weird because I think a lot of fans didn't see it at first because he stayed down and the play continued. So, and his teammates were sort of like, where did Ant go? And then they saw it and continued to, or they had to play defense. So the vibe was a little bit, I thought, it got quiet. But then here's the weird thing, and you've seen this. If you're a Wolves fan, like a real fan, you've seen this before, right? Because like at first you're like, okay, Ant's. I mean, there's two guys on this team that hit the deck a lot: Naz Reid and Ant. And Ant almost always pops back up. I don't think the vibe went to oh boy until he had to be helped off, and they actually helped him off towards where the Warriors come out, so they didn't like take him back across to the Wolves end. Now, getting to the X-ray room and the Wolves room is simple from both ways. But my point is, like, I think that was the realization, because just like Phil with the Lakers injury that he suffered in was that game 4 here, he stayed down. They were trying not to burn a timeout. So at first he's just sort of down, writhing in pain, grabbing the ankle, and a trainer's not there. And so I think fans were like, oh, it's Ant. He'll pop back up. And then after that, when he limped off, I think that there was oh boy, this might not be good. But then, being Ant, to start the second half, he came out and did some exercises and then started to shoot and didn't look like, you could tell he was putting weight on the foot and ankle just to check, but he looked fine. And I'm sure that you're right. I'm sure it's going to swell up. Now, what's weird about it is I did go back and watch the replay. So he went up. He drove the lane and went up, and he came down sort of odd on his right foot, but he was fine. And then his left foot followed, and that didn't look great. But then Jackson Davis actually stepped on his left foot, and that's where it twisted. And I couldn't tell if it was just the ankle, the foot, or the entire thing. I'm sure he's going to be in pain tomorrow. But here's the thing with Ant, in my opinion. Until, like, he doesn't play, I'm convinced he's going to play. Because I thought to myself, okay, his night's done. I think the Wolves PR staff tweeted out that he's questionable to return, and then sure as bleep, when they came out to start the second half, the first guy out and going through warm-ups was Ant. So sort of the story of Ant. I do have some concerns, but I think he'll play.
Yeah, it was when they showed him with those the training bands or whatever they're called, and he's going through the aggressive workouts a few minutes before his teammates got out there, and he's jacked up the threes. It was like, wow, he's going to go for it here in the second half. Let's go through some of our favorite things from this game. We've talked about some of them already, and in a minute we're going to bring Kyle. Actually, you know what? Let's just bring Kyle. Are you ready? I think Kyle's ready.
Hi, Kyle.
Right now? Yeah, let's bring Kyle Theige in here. And
Kyle and I are waving.
Hey, Judd.
Good to see you, Kyle.
Good to see you, boys.
Look at this. We got the whole arena covered here with the sports dad and Kyle.
Kyle's my pal.
Kyle, you jumped in.
What's up?
You jumped in just in time for our favorite things from this game here. I mean, we covered Anthony Edwards with another Paul Pierce moment. Anthony Edwards has more Paul Pierce moments than Paul Pierce had in his career. We'll see how the ankle feels the next day. But give us like one or two of your favorite things from this Game 2 win.
I will say, on the Ant injury, I just came out of Chris Finch's post-game media availability, and they asked him, like, hey, every time Ant goes down, do you just kind of expect him to get back up now at this point? And Finch did say he thought this one was going to rule him out for the rest of the game. So I think this one was a little different. In terms of my favorite things, low-hanging fruit for the Kyle Theige brand, but when Jaden McDaniels can play like that, I don't think he had a ton of rebounds tonight, but 16 points, blocks, and steals. Without Steph, they kind of have to turn to a really heavy Buddy Hield and Jimmy Butler offense, and Jimmy wants to facilitate still. He doesn't. I kind of said the other night, I don't think that he's going to give you 36. I don't think he's going to give you 40 points. He really wants to kind of have a Julius Randle game. And with Jaden on him, it just kind of shut the lever off. So I thought that was really great. And then the biggest one, the easiest one, and I'll throw it to Judd, is that Nickeil finding himself was huge. They needed Nickeil. He's been so bad, I thought, in the first 6 playoff games. I think he scored single digits 5 of those 6 games. For him to find his confidence, but his three-point stroke, I mean, Finch was raving about him after the game. So to have those two guys kind of rejuvenate, the team a little bit, I thought was really big.
I'm going with a team thing. I like the punchback. Like you were. That was a bad loss. Game 1 was a bad loss, and I think we expected it. But I mean, until you see it, you don't know for sure. And I loved the start. 8-0 lead. Golden State didn't have a point until well into the quarter. I loved the spark. I loved the fact that when Dante came in and didn't get off to a great shooting start, that he didn't say, woe is me. He actually facilitated. He made plays. He chased down loose balls. Like, this is what I think what we saw really was why Chris Finch was sending out some grenades after game one towards Ant. And like, it's not like Ant had this great game, but I did think that the team played really well in important stretches. They fell asleep at times, but again, I'll go back to what I said at the top of the show, Kyle. I said, I think if you are tuning in to these games to see great basketball, like just fantastic basketball, you're watching the wrong series. Like, I think that this is going to be, I think tonight was indicative of what the series is going to be like, which is a couple of boxers punching and punching and punching, and that doesn't lead you to, Magic Johnson, Showtime basketball. It leads you to this. But I liked the response because I think until we saw it, there had to be some questions. And the Timberwolves' response, for the most part, especially to start the game, was really, really strong, which was nice to see after what was, in game one, an absolutely horrific performance.
The loudest moment of the game was the first, I think, 12 seconds, Jaden McDaniels hits a slot three, which was big, right? Because in the first game, they didn't hit a three in the first half. So I think that also kind of like broke the seal, let everyone kind of relax a little bit. But to Judd's point, they did come out kind of like they did, I think, in game 5 to close out the Lakers. Like, they came out 13-0 to start the game, and their offense was really humming. They did have some lapses. It got down to 7 in that third quarter, and you could just see Finch was just seething because it was one turnover after another. But if they can clean up the turnovers, again, it's Golden State is really well coached, and they have found something, Phil, I think, defensively for this Wolves team, the way they all fly around. But offensively, I mean, it is AFC North football. Like, they really got to grind. I mean, I think the Wolves have forced 10 shot clock violations in 2 games. That is absurd. So they really have to kind of manufacture points. And if the Wolves cannot give them free possessions, I do think they have a good momentum leading into the San Francisco this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think rightfully so. A lot of attention has been paid to the Wolves and three-point shooting because they had a couple games against the Lakers, the historical Game 5, where they missed 43s. And then the game 1 against the Warriors included, where if you add those 2 games up, no team has ever been that bad from 3 in back-to-back playoff games. And that offensive equation is an important one to solve, which they did tonight. But to your guys' point, Kyle, on the defensive end, and I'll lump in my next favorite thing from this game, the Warriors didn't score a point until the 7-minute mark of the first quarter. It was 13-0, I believe, with 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. So I think for the Wolves to come out defensively, and the Wolves are, the Warriors may be the best defensive team statistically since the Jimmy Butler trade. The Wolves are a top 6 defensive team since, I think, the second week in January, maybe even on the season. I think the Wolves are like the 6th best defensive rating team, somewhere in there. So, like, the Wolves are also a really good defensive team. And if you don't have Steph Curry to come out and just send the message, you guys aren't scoring tonight, in basketball terms, I think it was a really powerful first handful of minutes in that game. Just, you guys literally aren't going to score for the first 5 minutes of game time.
Yeah, I also thought one more thing I liked, Julius Randle, again, he's had some moments. I think there was that moment in the third where he had like the third turnover that led to the Warriors' run, and Finch subbed him out. And I don't know if Judd saw this, but Randle was pissed on the sideline, and like he was kind of getting held back and like controlled. Finch gave him a minute to cool himself down, and he came back. But again, when Julius Randle's giving you like those 20-ish points, 11 assists, 7 rebound games, kind of flirts with a triple-double, I really do think that's when this team is at their best because he's facilitating, he's getting guys open, but he also, when they need a tough bucket, like Ant hasn't been able to finish around the rim, Phil, this whole series. It's been really weird. He's getting fouled, but he's got a lot of spin on the ball, and he's just not making them. So for Julius to get him those tough buckets, that's like, 7 playoff games now so far for Julius in a Timberwolves uniform. At least 5 of them have been really, really good, and I thought he was excellent again tonight.
I like the snarl too, though. Like, I will say this on Ant. So he had another. I believe it was his 8th time in the 2 games that he has basically missed a bunny. And the next time he got one, he just went in and dunked it. And it's like, yes, that's what you should do. Like, don't worry. If you draw the foul, that's fine. But don't worry about, like, trying to manipulate your body. He just went in and dunked it, and I think that is what you want. Because that way, guess what? If you get fouled, it's still a basket. And if you don't, it's a basket.
So the sequence you're talking about, if I remember correctly, he went to the official and he's listen, like, he complains with the best of them. Definitely
Yeah.
complains. Got the complainer gene. But during the timeout, he walked up and you could tell he was signaling to the referee, I got hacked on the forearm while I was dribble driving, and they showed the replay that the contact wasn't at the rim. He missed it would have been a continuation. He point blank missed the layup with zero contact, and that's something he has to go in the lab and figure out this summer. Why is he missing those? But as he's dribble driving and the defender hits him in the arm, he is so strong and so thick that it doesn't deter him from still getting the continuation and getting to the rim, whereas other players like the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders, there's plenty of players, LeBron James even, and Luka Doncic, the minute that their arm gets hit, they exaggerate the contact from that point, and they get to the free throw line. So I guess the solutions for Ant are either you keep powering through, you're not going to get as many calls, but figure out a way to finish anyways, or exaggerate the contact, like some of the other players that drive us nuts in the NBA have been doing. I don't know. Where do you guys fall on that?
Go ahead, Kyle.
I'm with you on that. I think a lot of it is mental. Like, I mean, it sounds so stupid, but like, I think he's just cold from around the rim that it's kind of affected. He is always looking for that foul, but in his defense, like, he does get fouled a lot, like you said, Phil. So I think that's something pretty easy for them to clean up. The Warriors played, I think, maybe every eligible player on their roster tonight. So, and some of the guys that gave him good minutes, like Trace Jackson Davis, like a big, like they might play a little bigger now and try to muck it up even more in games 3 and 4. So that might be a little more of a deterrent. But yeah, I mean, Ant in these first 2 games, I mean, even he only took, I think, 5 threes in game 1, 4 threes tonight. Like, that was kind of his bread and butter all regular season. So it just kind of seems like he's not, I don't want to say he's not fully healthy because he did have that ankle, but I just don't think he's fully comfortable yet against this defense. And the Warriors are throwing so many different schemes and so many different guys at him that, as we've talked about with his growth, like as he continues to develop and read the defense more and figure it out, once he solves it, I think he's going to be better. But getting to the rim has never been an issue for him. Finishing has been up and down, and I think they have to regain that because if he can finish at the rim, it is kind of over. Like, then there's nothing you can do to defend it.
I do think, though, that's going to be in Game 3 and the rest of the series. I think that's going to be so intriguing to watch how, like, Ant navigates this, because quite frankly, I think Golden State, I think it's going to get uglier. Like, I think for them to win this now, they need to somehow basically muck it up even more. And so, like, how Ant perceives this and how he goes about this, and quite possibly that's going to be continuing to try to make teammates better at times. But this series now, I'm all in now, because I think that, you know, Steve Kerr is so good. The Warriors definitely aren't a great team now, but they're well coached and they're a very sound, systematic team. On Saturday night, I cannot wait to see what the adjustments are, because I think Golden State's going to come away from this game saying, until Steph's back, which he might not be, the only way that we can win this now is to make it even uglier than it was in Game 2. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think we can all vouch it was pretty ugly in Game 2.
But to your point, is there an adjustment that the Steph Curry-less Warriors can make that gets them to 112 points offensively? Because I don't think there is. So really what they would have to do is, which kind of happened in Game 1, but I think the Wolves also, Alan Horton had the nugget that of those threes the Wolves missed in, I think it was a combined stat between, it was like the 12 for 76 combined stat, that 40% of them were wide open looks. So, like, your strategy can't be hope that the Wolves miss wide open threes. But I do wonder, is there a defensive lever? I could see, I mean, Draymond Green got heated during a portion tonight. Is there some sort of, does this resort to the Warriors and the Draymond Greens trying to bait a Jaden McDaniels into getting ejected? Like, I just wonder where this series evolves or devolves to if the Warriors can't score points.
That's when it was the loudest in here. I apologize. Jaden's 3 to start the game. Everyone's like, hey, our team makes threes now again. That's cool. That was loud. But first of all, when Draymond hits anyone on your team, you're going to be like irritated and pissed off. But when you go after Naz Reid, it felt like a personal thing for a lot of people. Judd, I'll throw it to you, but like, being in the arena for one of those, and then he gets the elbow, which it's like, is that a flagrant? Is it a tech? He ends up getting a tech. He is, I think, 2 techs or flagrant foul points away from a suspension because they got pretty heated in that Rocket series. But man, like, I like to focus on the Timberwolves, not really the opponent, but watching him after he gets his first tech, mother bleep the ref to his face and not get ejected or not get another one. It's crazy to see what he gets compared to like every other NBA player in the league.
And how did he not get tossed?
Yeah,
like
it's
he was
crazy.
He was pushing
Crazy.
that, but this guy, there are some guys that invite this, okay, and he's one. Like, he's not a victim of circumstances. At the end of the game tonight, and I know he's a veteran, but at the end of the game, he had ice packs like on his knees. Okay, he goes. I'm not joking, you guys. In fact, I watched this. I quit because the game was done. I was watching him. He went into the tunnel, which is like in the middle of the stands, and there is a protection like when the players get to a certain part, there's a tarp there. So like if I throw a beer, it's going to hit the tarp, right? But there's also a portion that's not protected that's right by the stands. They get an exercise bike in that area, and he rides it. And sure enough, gets in a verbal confrontation with a fan, and the fan's like, sorry or something, and like he's looking for it. And then he gets in another spat with another fan. Like, he's looking for trouble. He is absolutely looking. And I mean, security, here's my thing. We're in a bad old building, okay? If Draymond Green wants to go ride a bike, the game is done. Go ride a bike in your locker room. But no, he's got to be out among the fans. And then he's walking back through the fans to go to the huddle. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like you're inviting trouble here. And nothing happened. But my point is, like, he pushes the envelope on every single thing. And he can't help himself. And why he wasn't ejected, I have no clue. He was begging to be, and he should have been.
That's the thing is, like, watch it now in person. He can't help himself. And Phil, I don't know if this picked up on TV, but like when he was freaking out after the first tech, he was at midcourt. Like, Steph had to come and like talk to him, and Kerr was like, because like it or not, the Warriors desperately do need him. Like, yes, he's going to continue to muck it up, but they can't really lose him for a game because, again, he didn't really like light the world on fire night 3 for 10 from the field, but he understands this offense probably better than like anyone but Steph. So he's always, I mean, when the Warriors are going to play 13 guys, a lot of those guys don't have a lot of reps. So Draymond's constantly putting them in the right position, kind of quarterbacking it out there. So it's a fine line. And once you saw Steve Kerr look a little concerned, he subbed him out multiple times. You're like, okay, he must be riding really hot. So I didn't see the bike thing, but I'm with you. Like, just if it's over, man, just ride your bike home.
Yeah.
Get in your room. Just get in your locker. Like you're the one guy that has no business being among the fans.
Yeah.
I wouldn't allow it.
Maybe take a breath and side barbecue, Judd. Maybe that's what needs to happen.
That's an absolutely great idea because, in fact, let's talk about what is the best barbecue food truck in the West Metro, Safe Side BBQ. Fresh brisket cut to order. Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to find good brisket, and we're talking about the fresh stuff, 100% wood-fired smoking for juicy, savory, tender meat. By the way, no electronic smokers or ovens are used. Everything homemade. Bread is made to order for sandwiches. There's the brisket right there. Have I got your attention? You can find them at Safe Side Barbecue, safesidebbq.com, or on Facebook for where they will have their food truck next. You got to try it. Absolutely delicious in the West Metro again. That is our friends at Safe Side Barbecue. We appreciate their support on Flagrant Howls.
Judd, I know Draymond Green cannot partake on MyBookie, but our audience can partake on MyBookie.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, these games, they're a sweat. But how would you like the sweat to involve you personally? Well, then you definitely want to jump on MyBookie because you get a variety of bets. You get live odds, alt lines, playoff props. That's right, absolutely fantastic. Just go to MyBookie AG, use the promo code Flagrant Howls, and bet the playoffs. You deposit $50. You know what? You're going to get an extra $25. You want to go bigger? $100. You're going to get $50 from MyBookie. So if you're thinking to yourself, tonight was fun, but I'd like it to be more fun for Game 3, mybookie.ag, promo code Flagrant Howls.
Hey, real quick, because I know, Kyle, you probably have, I know you're going to be doing a Day More podcast late tonight, so I got one more thing for you before you say goodbye here. I thought that because Jaden McDaniels said what he said about Buddy Hield not being as good as Steph Curry. That like, oh, they're going to put Buddy Hield in that Steph Curry role, and he's not as good. Like he was stating facts, but just kind of in this nonchalant Jaden McDaniels way. Well, that got clipped by national like TV shows. That thing went all over the place. And I thought, oh man, this is gonna be the thing that like fires up Buddy Hield, and we found out that Buddy Hield really is a diet version of Steph Curry because he goes 5 of 14 tonight, only 15 points was a -9, but I want to give you one more chance on Jaden McDaniels here. My question is he if he is playing the way that he has played for many of these games? Efficient offensively, locking guys down on defense. He was a +20 in the 33 minutes. Can this team get to the NBA Finals if this is the version of Jaden McDaniels that we are going to get for the rest of the bracket?
I think one game at a time, on to Cincinnati type mentality. But I do think his development, every time you ask Chris Finch about him now, and Finch keeps it pretty tight-lipped in these playoff media sessions, doesn't want to give up too much, although the other day he just let it rip about the officials. I think his ability to just play two ways has been always there, but then the offensive explosion, again, tonight, not a lot of that stuff is like play design. It's just him kind of like low shot clock or they need a bucket. He gets to that mid-range. I think the thing that's been crazy, though, being at all these games through this postseason run is that he kind of had some Draymond in him coming out of college, and like he was always, he punched that wall right over there. Judd's been here too, like for these two games. Like he is the most calm, like mature player out there when things are going wrong. He's the guy calming down Nas, calming down Rudy. I think that development is massive for a team that has a lot of guys that can kind of pop off and go a little crazy and complain about fouls. Jaden never complains about fouls. So adding the offense, Phil, to what the defense has always been, all second team defense last year, I do think that's the type of player that helps get you to an NBA Finals. But again, without Steph, if they just kind of shut down corner him and put him on a Jimmy, or tonight he did have some possessions on Buddy Hield, this Warriors team can't really score. And then on the other side, if Jaden can get you 10, 12, 14 points, it's just got to be kind of devastating as an opposing coach.
Great stuff, Kyle. Courtside, reporting live, coming in from
Appreciate you guys.
the press
Bye, Kyle.
conferences.
See ya.
See you, buddy.
Bye, Judd. Hey,
Yeah.
Phil, you'll like this stat. I'll close with this. Chris Finch has now tied Flip Saunders for the most playoff wins in Wolves history with 17.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
And in terms of series victories,
Passed him.
he passed him after the Lakers series, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
that was his third playoff series win. Crazy, man.
But besides that, it's no big deal.
Yeah. Fire him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bye, guys.
See
Bye,
you
Judd.
later. Bye. Bye, Kyle.
Kyle Theige,
That's hilarious.
here on Flagrant Howls. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, actually let's stay on that for a second because you had the take that kind of gained some traction last week, that you were ready to put Anthony Edwards above Kevin Garnett in the Timberwolves franchise pecking order, and we can continue to flesh that out.
Sure.
But it is crazy that KG and Flip Saunders, they went to the playoffs 8 straight years, but they only advanced one of those 8 years. That this iteration, it's been 4 straight playoff trips. Chris Finch and Anthony Edwards have advanced in the playoffs in terms of series wins and in terms of seasons advancing more than Kevin Garnett and Flip Saunders back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And, knock on wood here, if this series plays out the way that we think it will, which is Wolves beat a Steph Curry-less Warriors team, I think they would have won the series even with Steph Curry. That'll be back-to-back trips to the Western Conference Finals we're talking about.
Yeah.
So just, they're setting a new bar in Wolves franchise history in front of us right now.
Yeah, and I think that we now have. It's weird, but I saw part of the debate in what I brought up with Ant and KG was, well, look at KG's teams. KG didn't have great teams consistently, but I think we downplay the fact that his supporting cast were not always crap. Like they did have at that time. I mean, basketball right now is a different sport, but present day, starting with Gerson Rosas and then Tim Conley and Chris Finch as the extension, this team has done a very nice job of building a roster that's very formidable, very good. It's got a star player. But, yeah, if a guy like Jaden plays like Jaden can, especially this time of year, he is a difference maker. There is no question. Finch, I think, again, we saw it tonight. Finch got the team back. Like, they played a terrible game in game one, but it's the playoffs. You have to flush it. You absolutely have to flush it. You can't sit there and say, oh, my God, it's the Warriors. And the fact that Steph is out probably does help. But if Steph played, you still have to come back and play a game at home. The Warriors go home happy. They stole home court with the game one win here. But at the end of the day, the Wolves made the best of it with what they have. And, look, even without Steph playing, I think we're going about, minimum of 6. I don't think the Wolves are going to sweep it now. I think they're going to find. I think Golden State's going to find a way probably to win at least one. These games, I like the Wolves a lot more, but I'm just saying these games are pretty brutal, and I think you could see some weird stuff. But this team and Chris Finch clearly have the ability to coach, and he showed this against Denver last year. I mean, look at the juxtaposition of the first 2 rounds of the 2024 playoffs. Phoenix, you sweep them. They look like crap, okay? And the Wolves look great. Next round, defending champion Nuggets. They come back, or you come back, you play 7. You're down by, 20 in the last game? Something like that. And you come back and win. So I think it helps that the Wolves have been in a lot of different boxing rings playoff-wise and have the ability to process, really nice stretches of playoff basketball, which is not always the case. But then that Denver win, I'm sorry, but when you go to Denver, Game 7, and you come away and you're basically toast, you're done in that game, and you come away with a win, I mean, 1, that win's incredibly impressive, but 2, the experience of that, because you got hit, you were down, you got up. Like the 10 count was to 8, and you got yourself up. So a lot of credit here. It might not, I know that, there's continually fans on Twitter who think that Chris Finch is an idiot, blah, 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 but Chris Finch is very good at what he does. He is, and the thing, too, is in this series, as you pointed out, both in our text threads and then just on the shows, Phil, he's up against a really damn good coach. Like, Steve Kerr is really good. Like, Steve Kerr is really, really good. He is one of the top coaches, and Chris Finch is clearly getting there. But Steve Kerr is one of the best coaches in the game today, and it's not just, he just has star players, so dismiss it. No, Steve Kerr has a system. He's got a way that works, and so it's not just the Golden State team that you're playing. It's Chris Finch against Steve Kerr, and I'm sorry, but it's my humble opinion that in at least the sports of basketball and hockey and playoffs, coaching plays a huge role. Like, you can dismiss coaching in a January game, probably. But when you're in a 7-game series that requires game plans, that has a ton of film work, that has some off days to practice, I think coaching becomes very important. And I think one of the most intriguing and interesting matchups in this series is actually now Kerr v. Finch.
Yeah, and yes. But I will say, like, to your point about, you said at the beginning of your take that you feel like it's minimum a 6-game series. I guess I'm not being a homer here. I swear. Like, us, like we aren't just unabashed homers here. Hell, I spent 4 years ripping the starting quarterback of the Vikings, for God's sakes. I only see one path to the Warriors beating the Timberwolves in a game without Steph Curry, and it's if playoff Jimmy shows up. Mm-hmm. And we haven't seen playoff Jimmy in a minute. And I'm probably poking at the bear here, but the last time Jimmy scored more than 29 points in a playoff game was, I think, 17 playoff games ago.
You said this about LeBron, too, and then he just went off in a game.
He did, and the Wolves did win that game.
They did.
The Wolves won that game. True. I did poke that bear, and I clearly LeBron James, a connoisseur of flagrant howls. He has great taste in podcasts. But it's got, if playoff Jimmy doesn't show up and go old school, Miami Heat bubble version, the meme of him exhausted hanging over the sideline barrier, it would either take that or more historically inept shooting performances by the Timberwolves. I don't see where the offense comes from with this team. They're very well coached. They absolutely are feisty. They play really hard. But if the Wolves are also playing really hard and the defense that we have come to know, there's just not enough offensive levers for this Warriors team to pull. So that's I still think it's very likely that this ends Wolves in 5. I guess is my take.
I hate to go here because I feel like what I'm about to say is ripe for the bandwagon now to watch this and agree. But I do think in games 3 and 4, if Golden State ups it defensively and gets the right officiating, it could lead to a win there for them. Like if you don't get the call, like if Golden State is like, you know what, screw it, let's just play football on a basketball court, and the refs swallow their whistles, I could see that. I'm just saying I'm allowing for the fact that there could be some weird stuff here. It feels like a weird series, and so because I agree. If you just roll the ball out there and say make shots, the Wolves are gonna roll in 5. Feels like that might not happen. And don't forget too, I got bad news for you, dude, because this was good news in round 1. Scott Foster is back.
The extender,
the referee who was out for like a month injured, just returned last night, and I'm guessing he gets a game here.
You think he's not showing up for game 3 though? Like they'd send for him if it was 3-1 going into a game 5.
I'm just saying I could see him being the extender for the Warriors. He's back.
It would be like because the gap is between 5 and 6, right? You get like a 3-day gap. So it would be Wolves up 3-1. Steph's going to be back for game 6. Would really like to see what happens in a game 6. Call for Scotty Foster, the extender, right?
Yes. And I wish nothing ill for Scott. Like, I'm glad he's back. I'm glad his I don't know what his ailment was, is healed. I wouldn't have minded him taking another 2 weeks off.
I think it was a hamstring. It was like a hamstring or a calf.
So he
strained it in a Knicks Heat game. I don't know. Like, did he have to stop reffing? I don't know what happened. I've never seen a ref pull their hamstring before, I guess. Hey, Stoked is back on board here for this playoff run, Judd.
Welcome back. In fact, Stoked, we love you. You're back. And, folks, it is nice outside. It is getting warm now. Talk about one thing, barbecue season. And that means it's time to stock up on Stoked barbecue pellets, a company based right here in our great state, operated here. Pick up Stoked barbecue pellets, a 50-count fire starter bucket, 4-count fire starter bags, and may I suggest, if you are the barbecue aficionado, the barbecue caddy is an absolutely great thing. Stoked is the premium pellet, cooks anything you throw on the grill or smoker to delicious perfection. You can find Stoked products at Fratelloni Hardware and Garden Stores. Also check out StokedBBQ.com to find their deal locator so that you can find all of their locations. That's StokedBBQ.com. And again, find all the products in Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores.
Boom. So, Wolves with a much-needed, mostly dominant 117-93 win over the Warriors here as we wrap this Game 2 recap Flagrant Howls episode. Got a little dicey there in the third quarter, and then the Wolves poured in some threes and extended the margin here. But couple things for you guys, the audience. A, thank you so much for spending your post games with us and jumping on this Flagrant Howls wagon here. It's been just a really fun community to be a part of these last couple playoff runs. We love doing these post game shows. We love the energy in the arena. It's a blast. Judd's at Target Center right now, as you can see on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, click that like button and the subscribe button on the Score North YouTube channel to help us keep growing this thing. And then if you're listening on demand, after the fact, Apple and Spotify, a 5-star rating and a positive review can help us on those platforms as well. Just any final quick thoughts from you, Sports Dad, before we say goodnight?
I like the bounce back when Golden State came back in to cut the lead to 7 in the third quarter. The Wolves then, for the rest of the third, went on a 23-8 run, which just sealed it. So it did get a little bit dicey, but again, I like the punch back here. I feel like tonight they really threw some punches that definitely staggered Golden State, which against this team, and especially a guy like Draymond, absolutely necessary. And I think that the Warriors are going to do their best Saturday night to get under the Wolves' skin again if they can.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I just feel like it shouldn't have to take Chris Finch once every 3 weeks, going back to the regular season, to get pissed at this team and sit them down for a film breakdown of why they weren't bringing their A energy. Like, sometimes you're not going to make shots. I can forgive the missed three-pointers because it's basketball. There's high variance with three-point shooting. Right. You're going to miss some threes. When you're shooting 40 of them, you might miss 35 one night. It happens. It's the other stuff. It's the dumb transition turnovers. It's the moving off the defensive game plan that you set up for 6 days, like that type of stuff. When they are locked in and they are playing with desperate energy, this team can win the NBA championship. Like, this team can win the LOB. I'm not saying they'd be favored over a fully stocked.
Well, the Celtics going to make it.
Oklahoma City team. The Celtics are in a. Wouldn't that be wild? By the way, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. I don't think the Knicks are that team, but
are you sure?
If they knock the Celtics off, they have an easier path. So, but I just like my point is, when the Wolves are dialed in with peak energy, and when they are knocking down threes at the clip that they have on average this season, they are really hard to beat. And tonight was a great example. They were mostly dialed in. They brought crazy energy from the start. You jump out to a 13-0 lead. You ride the wave of momentum from the crowd, and this is what the peak Wolves look like. So, hopefully, that Game 1 situation is something that does not pop up again the rest of these playoffs. But we've been saying that throughout the regular season too, and it does rear its head every 2 to 3 weeks. So I guess we will see. So, all right. Going to go find some.
Go rest that voice.
Some ginger tea here in Chicago.
Get some
see
sleep.
If we can
hey, the Pope.
Bring
you're
this thing
you're
back
in the you're in the Pope's hometown. You got to go out to a
excited
Catholic bar or something, man. I bet they're celebrating. I bet they're going till 5 a.m.
People are very, very excited for the
Turns out he's a White Sox fan.
American Pope.
White Sox fan.
Is he a White Sox fan?
Cubs claim credit for him, and then his brother went on, I think, WGN News and said, "No, he's a White Sox fan."
I saw his brother, who lives in like Florida now, I think, is doing all these news interviews. You're the brother of the Pope.
Yep,
it's great.
How about that?
Amazing. All right, he's the sports dad, live at Target Center. For our guy Kyle Theige, also live at Target Center. I am the voiceless Phil Mackey, and this is a Timberwolves lifestyle podcast. See ya.